Hello, hello, this is Paper Cuts Included coming to live from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket, and that's how I know it's legit. Today is going to be another Under the Microscope video. If this is your first ever Paper Cuts Included video, this is a comic book YouTube channel where me and my co-host talk about comic books, comic book art, art in general, and artists. We look at comic book art more than story-wise, so if you want to know the complete story of Batman 101, maybe go to a channel like Comic Tropes. Here, we look at the artwork more, dissect it, and give our own tips and tricks on the art community. We're all three working artists, and I'm going to show off some of my artwork real quick to prove it. I just bought some Posca markers. I've never used them before, so I'm trying them out. So I have been messing around with them. I've been liking them. That's just a pencil sketch right now. It's been pretty fun, pretty cool. I'll try to maybe make a little mini comic out of it just to practice with. This is my favorite page I've done so far. So there's my art. If you like the artwork you see, I'm probably going to post it on my Instagram. That link will be in the description. Or if you really, really like it and you want a t-shirt or a sticker of it, my TeePublic page will also be linked in the description, where you can buy t-shirts, stickers, blankets, towels, I think even mugs now. So if you like what you see, give me a holler. So we're actually going to be looking at a book called Dalgoda #1, and this is take 2 of this. I filmed this video yesterday, but I accidentally deleted it completely. So we're going to be taking take 2, and maybe this one will sound a little bit more educated than my first one. And that first question you're probably asking me is, what the heck is Dalgoda? I have never heard of this. And I wouldn't blame you. I never heard of it. I found it in a $3 bin, and if you got 5, it was only 10. So I needed to finish my 5 books, so I picked this up. It looked cool. I like sci-fi. You know, this cover looked cool. The typography was cool, so I decided to check it out. I didn't plan to do a video on it till I saw that on some other Fantagraphic book, on the back cover, Frank Miller is on record saying he likes this book. So once I saw that, we have to look at it, right? We gotta see what Mr. Holy Terror likes about it. So let's I'd say let's cut her open, but that's like I do with every issue we look at. Is the cover successful? Sorta. I feel like this one's probably the weakest cover we looked at so far in the Under the Microscope series. I think that if you're not into sci-fi, you wouldn't pick up this book because it's very obviously sci-fi. So I think, you know, I would pick it up because I like sci-fi. But if someone's just into strictly superhero books or strictly into westerns or military books, I don't really think they're going to pick it up. Also, if you're not into animal books like this, I don't think, you know, you're losing people. I wish the colors were a little bit better. Like our main character, that's Dalgoda himself, kind of gets lost in the moon. And I wish these greens were a little bit more bright. And there is some good coloring in this book. It's kind of mixed with either really good coloring or just solid coloring. But the cover itself, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Not good, not bad. I think it really takes a sci-fi fan to pick it up. So now let's break her open. See, like, again, I wish there was some, you know, cool coloring right there. Like, we're gonna see soon that he does do some really cool coloring, but I'm sure these were some of the first panels. Let's see, our artist is Dennis Fujitaki. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. The writer is John Strand. So, you know, I believe John Strand did a lot on the Critters books, which I was worried that this book was going to be a Critters book. And it's safe to say it's not. It's actually a really solid sci-fi book. If you like Robotech, I'd pick this book up. If you like just maybe Firefly to a little bit. There is some Firefly themes, but mostly Robotech. It's got the same pacing and the same humor as Robotech. And I wonder if that's because the artist is Dennis Fujitaki. You know, it has more of a manga pacing to it. But no, here's our first 6 panels. It's set in, I believe, the Hawaiian Islands. I want to say Honolulu, but I'm not for sure. Nothing too special with the typography and panels. Kind of boring. Nothing to write home about. Let's flip the page. Like here's some pretty cool coloring with the water, using your greens and your blues. You know, using the shadow for blue. That's some good coloring. I like that coloring. You know, and here with him going down, you have that black, you know, background, and then you have this really cool green-blue mix. I think that's some really good coloring. You know, I feel like most artists or newer artists are just gonna do a navy blue for dark water, and then you kind of, you know, this panel gets lost. That's my personal opinion. But no, our main character, Dalgoda's ship crashes down in, is it the Pacific Ocean is by Hawaii? I hope so, or else I'm going to sound stupid. And they don't know what it is. The Navy ship that finds it sends its men to go find it. And we got our first sort of look at Dalgoda. This is probably one of the better pages in this book. This coloring, I love. It's very wild, very different, and I wish more of the book used it. I'd say about a third of the book uses these cool colors, this cool color scheme, but I don't know what happened. I think it's really good using this blue as the really dark shadows. You know, the red and the green, it really works, especially right here. Like, as the reader, you really get sucked into it, and it stands out. You're going to remember pages like this, and it's going to keep you coming back issue after issue. Don't just make it, you know, at the beginning of the book, this one red color, because that's going to look so boring. You know, and you're going to lose these characters probably in each other. And what I mean by that is if they were just red, there's none of that shadow, they're going to start like almost morphing into each other, and it's going to be harder to distinguish them. And you don't want that in a comic book. But no, that panel and that panel were probably one of my favorites. The coloring's really good. Dennis, is his first name Dennis? Yes, Dennis Fujitaki. I think he's really good at showing emotions, and, you know, I don't know if I'd say cartooning, but he has cartooning. You can tell he studied some, you know, maybe some Astro Boy or stuff like that. Or maybe not. Maybe he didn't study any of that. It's probably wrong for me to assume. But he looked at something where he could, you know, find some really good cartooning. Like this. Like those two panels. That, you know, very, I don't know, just good cartooning. Having him drink and then wipe his mouth off because there's some spilling. Some people don't think about that. Some people might just remove that panel or not even think about it and just have it go straight to that. But, you know, experiment. You know, you're building up. Doing this helps build a world. It helps build that, you know, this is a real world. These characters might be a little goofy or whatever. And this book is a little goofy in tone. So just remember that. Don't make all your characters like this roughneck, stiff guy. Which, you know, making him rough really adds to his character, too. He's your old military guy. You know, he's not going to be, you know, all lollipops and rainbows. He's, you know, going to be cigars and coffee. And then we get our second main character. I believe his name is Ravencroft? Ravencraft, okay. And he has space experience, and they want him to go talk to the Dalgoda, our main character. He is an alien. He is a Canadian, and now we're going to get the rules of the story. We're going to get why are there dog aliens crashing on Earth. And to do this, the artist does some really cool panel work. Whenever we talk about the past or someone's telling a story, we get these wavy line effects for the panel. I think that's really cool. It's really subtle, but it works. Do that. You know, test out some panel work. It'll make your book look better. I'm guilty of never really trying to do panel work different, but it takes time. It takes time to remember you can get out of the box. I need to remind myself that. So maybe since I'm telling this, people will remember. Just get out of the box with your panel work. Do something. How he's doing this wavy line. It makes sense. He's telling a story, so it's probably not all concrete truth. There's probably some misconceptions or something. But no, we're getting to it, and here's some more good coloring with the, so the first ever Canadian lands on Earth, and it's at night. So we get this really cool yellow look from, I guess, the lights, and this really cool, you know, shade of blue. I think that's really good coloring. A lot of people wouldn't, I think they'd either make them all yellow or all blue, but just adding that, subtle difference really helps, stand it out as a piece of artwork. I'd like to see the original pencils of this book, or, inks, because I've never heard of Dennis before this book. I'm definitely going to check him out. I'm definitely going to check out, I believe the artist is the colorist is Ken Smith. Yep. And I'd like to see what else Ken Smith has colored. Let me know if you know any other books he's done, because I'm really digging his color palette. We get some interesting typography right here with the beeps and the boops. None too crazy to write about, but it's always nice to see some interesting typography. Other than that, the lettering's pretty boring. It's just, one font. I wish they would have done more to that, but what are you going to do? So they don't trust the Canadian because the American ship. So the world, but I think they're just using America for a lot of its stand-in. And the Canadians discovered each other, and they both send ships to each other's respected planets. And I'm just gonna call it the American. The American ship gets shot down, so they don't trust the Canadian. They don't know if the Canadians did it. But the hysteria gets so bad that some lone vigilante kills the Canadian emissary. So tensions are a little rough. No, we keep going. Here's a subtle way to make sure you never lose your one of your main characters. He's blonde, and a lot of his panels, it's going to be on a blue background. So your eye's always going to go to this, blonde hair, white capped guy, and you're going to know who your main character is. I think that's probably part of it. Just try stuff like that. If your character has, purple hair, maybe put him in like a yellow toned background. Something that, you won't lose your main character. And it helps us as the reader always be able to find the character. It always helps us be able to, remember who the main character is. You know what I mean? Let's see, flipping, and now the two main characters are going to meet each other. More really good panel works, or colorist end panels. This is a really good page. The screen, he's talking about how the screens are going out, and so they're shining light and shining it on each other. That's really ingenious. A lot of artists aren't going to think to do that, but try it. I give you permission to curb it. I'm sure this guy wouldn't mind if you give him props, but really good. And also this one with the flashlight getting shown, it's illuminating everything in its circle, and it has a natural end to it. His arm gets cut off, so it's not all lit. Like that's really smart. Don't feel like when you show a flashlight, someone has to cover all of them. Flashlights have that circle effect. So, use that, make some cool compositions with that. And here's another one of our supporting characters is Dalgoda's lawyer. He won't talk to anyone without his lawyer. So here we're going. Some more good pages. Pretty interesting looking out the window with, that's probably building up his character. You're going to remember that about him, that he's, head in the clouds, whimsical. Some more good coloring panels. I don't really know, I wonder if I don't know. Seems like, I wonder if they did a lot of the panels first, or then a lot of these in the ship panels they did later. Because I feel like there's a stark different / improvement in his color theory. That'd be interesting to ask. Some more crazy colors, which is good. If you're doing a sci-fi book, you need those crazy colors. Don't just, do basic grays, or if you try to 2001 Space Odyssey, in my opinion, it's going to get boring fast, just seeing gray after gray after gray, maybe a light blue. So do these crazy colors, do these, peaches, these oranges, these, greens. It makes the book a lot more interesting. It makes it more believable that it's a sci-fi book, and it's going to have people, remember this color scheme. I'm going to remember this color scheme. I think this is a really good color theory for this book. Like, look at this. They didn't make the ships all gray. If they made them all gray, they're just going to look like bathtubs in space. But, that green and that red, It really helps, you know, distinguish them. I think that's a really good space look, actually. I guess I'd call that a watermelon color scheme, you know, with the green and then the bottom. I think it looks really good. You know, try it. Just be crazy with your sci-fi books. Don't be too crazy, but I think it looks good. That's a really good silhouette of our main character, Dalgoda. I don't remember if I said this in the last video, or if I said this and take one of this and it got deleted, but your character is only as good as their silhouette. And what I mean by that is, you know, one of the things I learned in art, or one of the things they try to tell us in art school, you know, is draw your character, you know, and then black him out. If he can be recognized in like 5 seconds, you have a successful character, you know? So, you know, some of our culture, our world's most popular characters pass that test. You know, if you showed someone Mickey Mouse's head all blacked out, they're going to instantly tell you it's Mickey Mouse. If you show them SpongeBob silhouette, they're going to say it's SpongeBob. So do that with your, if you're, you know, an artist and you're making original characters, if you're doing fan art, if you're just, you know, if you're drawing Batman, you know, black it out, show your friends, show your colleagues, so, you know, show someone. And if they can guess it, what it is, in like 10 seconds, you have a successful character. It's the silhouette test, and I think every artist should do it. It's an important tool to have, and it's important. Like, you know, I know a lot of people aren't going to know Dalgoda, but those who do, I bet they could tell who it is. You know, he didn't just make him a dog. You know, he gave him this, you know, a neat little mustache. I guess would he be a German Shepherd, or is he more of a Great Dane? I had a Great Dane. Now my parents do. So, but no, remember the silhouette test. Now we're getting a look at our other supporting characters. One of them's not going to last that long. One of them I really like a lot, and I'm probably going to talk about him a little bit. They are Secret Service agents. One of them's guarding the bathroom because apparently the other one has some bowel issues. Or Tom Landry look-alike, you know, especially in that panel. I wonder if they really did look at Tom Landry, who was, thanks to King of the Hill for letting me know, the Dallas Cowboys coach when they won. Did he have them win Super Bowls? I don't know. I don't watch football. But I do think they modeled him after Tom Landry. But no, this is probably my favorite panel in the book. That's like a classic noir look with the shoulder holsters, just in a dirty bathroom, just looking. And the best joke in this is that everyone already knows their Secret Service, because you get three panels of just people being like, Secret Service. I think it's funny. They're trying to be secret, which I guess makes sense, because they're trying to bug Ravencraft's apartment, and later in the book, Ravencraft, as soon as they walk in, find every bug, and he puts them in a drawer just full of bugs. So I guess it's, you know, early, hey, they're not that good at their job. But here's some interesting character work. This, you know, this might not look like a whole lot, but it's adding to this character. I believe this is going to be a recurring character, and, you know, we're getting to know him a little bit better. We know he thinks highly of himself. You know, this is the second time he's looked in the mirror and fixed his tie. It's just adding more depth to the character, and it's adding, you know, it's building on the world. Don't make your world stiff. Add panels like this so the world, you know, gets some variety, some depth. You know, without that, the reader's not really going to be able to attach to characters, you know. So it's important just to try to make your world seem like a living, breathing space. And now we're at Dalgoda is able to make a deal with the lawyer, and now he's going to go live with Ravencraft. Who's Croft? Is that a Marvel character? I don't know. Nothing too much to write home with the next few pages, you know. We're just getting some more world. Dalgoda got that classic dog cliche where he'll eat anything, even if Ravencroft says it doesn't smell good. But yeah, here's those panels where they find all those bugs. Really muted in the color tones. Just grays, browns, earthy tones. you know, kind of boring compared to some of the beginning pages. Oh, but here's probably my favorite world building. When they get there, the TV, or when they're, you know, when they get there, the TV is playing this ad for this assassin droid that you should buy it, and you know it's amazing. And then the very next page, what do we get? The freaking assassin droids in it, and as it's still talking about it, I think that's just really, you know, interesting. Here's, I think, the second instance of non-font typography. I wish there was a lot more of it. He does some interesting stuff with it. It wraps around Dalgoda. I think that's a cool usage of it. And, you know, when the assassin bot shoots the laser, it's going through the pan with the laser. You know, I think that's really cool. Remember to just think out of the box with your typography. You know, don't just do 1,000 of these little looks. You know, try to figure out stuff like that. Try to figure out stuff like that. Because if you can make your typography really good, it's gonna be amazing. Typography is an art even of itself, and it's one of the hardest arts in my opinion to make it look good. It's really easy to make it look bad. It's really easy to just make it mediocre, and it takes, you know, a steady hand to make it look really good. But, you know, I really like this next panel events, especially this panel. This is my favorite thought bubble. Run, 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 run. That's like, I could see that in like a Futurama episode. And no, I just really like it. Just think of stuff like that, even with your thought bubbles. You know, don't just do, you know, I wish he did more than just the standard font. Like, they're all squares, whereas this one has some, you know, some curves, some, you know, organic little shapes. Just remember to do stuff like that, you know? I wish he did more of it. Or when, you know, the TV's talking, it has those little lightning bolt effects. But like I said, that agent wasn't there for long. Good coloring, though, in that diner. You know, got those greens, you know, those, what do you call it? Orange looks. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Another great panel. I wonder if that was a Shaggy Scooby-Doo kind of reference, you know? But good page. Really good coloring. You know, good little Terminator panel almost. And then our other secret agent kills that murder bot. Really good coloring right there with the orange from the diner showing off on some of the pedestrians. I think that's a really good look. Remember that when you have a light source, it's going to go off on people. And if you can manage to remember that and make it look good, it makes this panel look a whole lot better than if it was just all in cooler tones. You know, throw some warm tones in there. It'll make the scene look more organic and more of a, sometimes even a timepiece. Like, you know, if you're trying to make a noir book, think about that. And here's the last page, and that is Dalgoda #1. A pretty solid book. I think it has some really good Robotech vibes, especially since the premise of the book is that Dalgoda's people are about to get attacked. Their fleet's been destroyed, so they have to modify the world's battleships into spaceships. I think that's a very, you know, Robotech-esque theme. I'm sorry if I didn't talk a lot about the story. Like I said, I'm more focused on talking about the artwork and the artists themselves. You know, if I talked about the story, we'd probably be here for a long time, you know. And I feel like there's more to talk about with artwork than there is anything else. I wonder if this was an alternate cover. So there's Dalgoda #1. I think it's a solid book. You know, I'd pick it up if you find it. It's always going to be a cheap book. If, you know, back in when I was collecting, there was these things called 50-cent bins that I feel like don't exist anymore. If I'm lucky, I can find like a $1 bin. But if I'm unlucky, I find $3 or $4 bins. Or some places just say all back issues are $4. But I check this book out if you like sci-fi. If you like Robotech, I'd check it out. You know, I think it was good. Especially, you know, it's an early, I believe it came out in '84. So, what, is that a year after Return of the Jedi came out? Or the year Return of the Jedi came out? So, you know, makes sense. It has, I think, manga pacing and a manga feel to it. So if you like mangas, check it out. But But that's kind of all I have to say about it. Good book, good sci-fi book. Doesn't break the mold with art, but does have some really cool coloring in it. Has some interesting panel work, you know, but that's kind of it. So I guess, you know, if you like this video, you know, if you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe. This is a weekly comic book channel. When I mean weekly, I mean every weekday I'm going to try to be posting a video. I have the next 3 weeks worth of vids planned, so stay tuned, and maybe sometimes there'll be a little treat on the weekend if I get time for it. You know, now that summer's hitting, I'm probably going to have a lot of free time, but our summer goal right now is to get 40 subscribers by the end of August. I think August 22nd is when I go back to college, so let's try to hit that 40 subscribers. And if you want to see more of this, I think we're about to hit 20 videos. If you want to see more of my artwork or my co-host artwork, our links will be in the description. Instagram, TeePublics, all that fun jazz. So yeah, thanks for anyone who watched this. Thanks to my Reddit people who followed me. Thanks to, you know, people who, if this is your first video, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. And I guess with that, I'll send you on some marching orders, and I'm out of here. Make more art.